how have the parties been manoeuvring then ahead of that crucial runoff on Sunday?
You know, Tom, the candidates had until 6 p.m. last night to register for the runoff. And as you were mentioning, in fact, more than 220 candidates, according to the latest count from Le Monde, we'll get the final result later today, are pulling out of the race, meaning those who came in third position are now out of the race. That means the National Rally is now in duels, facing either a left-wing candidate or a Macron candidate in a lot of the constituencies. There are less than 100 three-way contests left, and technically that decreases the chances of the National Rally getting an outright majority. Still, it is still a possibility. Of course, one poll is showing that the National Rally would get between 225 and 262 seats, so just shy of a majority. Remember, before the first round, Jordan Bardella, the National Rally president, was actually saying, if I don't get an absolute majority, I will refuse the role of prime minister. Now Marine Le Pen is actually saying that they could still take the job if they are just a few lawmakers away, so we'll have to watch that really carefully. If there are just 15 or 20 lawmakers away from a majority, they might try and grab a few of them, for example, from the Republicans.
OK, so that message around the Prime Minister and the majority has been moderated somewhat from the National Rally. Look, you touched on part of this, Caroline. What are the expectations? What are our best predictions that are coming through in terms of how this could line up on Sunday?
I mean, obviously, absolute majority is still a possibility. The only other alternative really is a hung parliament, because clearly we're not going to get a majority for Macron and we're not going to get a majority for the left wing. So a hung parliament, and some analysts are actually saying that a technocratic government could be possible with some personality outside of politics, outside of parliament coming back, such as the former WTO director, Pascal Lamy, even the current Bank of France governor, Villeroy de Gallo, has been named, or the current ECB president, Christine Lagarde, who is not totally out of the French scene, even though some actually do not agree with that scenario. Have a listen.
I think that a technocratic government is not in the French tradition at all. It might be a solution in other countries, namely Italy. What I would expect in case there is no absolute majority by either political sensitivity, I think that the president would probably try to have a coalition government.
So if it's not a technocratic government, according to the former ECB president Jean-Claude Trichet, what could we have? A political coalition with some moderates from both sides. The far left already has said they will not join a coalition unless Macron abandons his pension reform, which is something that, of course, he is very unlikely to do. So getting some moderates from both sides, and in that case, the possibility of a moderate center-left face as prime minister. For example, the former president, François Hollande, who is also running as MP, and there are some other figures like former Prime Minister Bernard Cazeneuve, also socialist, and some socialist MPs like Valérie Rabault, who has said that she is ready to also take the Prime Minister role. But of course, a lot of unpredictability for this runoff on Sunday, so it must still be a little premature to see what exactly is going to come out of this.